car hit on flock is being stolen.
Okay.
Apparently NCIC says the car's been stolen. So Aggie stops it, takes him out of the car.
Hands up! Hands up! Both hands up!
He's the owner. Says he never reported it stolen.
I was in the corner, right?
Yeah.
And he drove like looking at me. I was like, you looking at me like it's...
So
I
all the
checked,
things together made it
yeah,
look...
I checked
I got you.
and then came back stolen.
Why would it come back stolen?
I don't know. I haven't stolen the vehicle. I bought it. That's my license. Those are my license.
Yeah.
And that's my license. Those are my tag. I have it's registered.
Did you have any issues with the vehicle? Has anybody else driven it? Any issues with a tow company? Anything like that?
Never had a tow.
My bad. She said negative stolen? I thought she said stolen. Because what it came to me was stolen in a freaking flock. See?
Welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel. This footage, just recently released out of Hampton, Virginia, shows a math teacher being pulled out of his car at gunpoint by police. They thought the car was stolen, but it was not stolen. As I explained before in a prior video, this happens all over the country. What is the law on this? Can the police just aim a gun at you and order you out of the car just because their computer system says, or they mistakenly believe, that your car is stolen? They have no other information about you indicating that you may be armed or dangerous, just a computer entry. Take a look at the footage and then I'll explain.
Hands up! Hands up! Both hands up! Turn off the car. Your car is coming back stolen. Face away from me! Who's this car?
My car?
Is it your car?
Yes, sir.
Why is it coming back? Did you report it stolen?
No, sir.
You did not report it stolen?
Never reported stolen. The calculator, I'm trying to get some problems, man.
Hey, man.
I ain't got no beef with nobody.
Yes, sir.
I ain't mad, I ain't upset. I just need to, get to work.
Car hit on flock is being stolen.
Okay.
Apparently NCIC says the car's been stolen. So Aggie stops it, takes him out of the car. He's the owner. Says he never reported it stolen. You see the registered owner?
I'm gonna check right now. It isn't. Why the hell is coming back stolen?
Is it the tag that's stolen or is it the vehicle?
I don't know. It came back as a stolen vehicle.
Did you verify that through info?
Not through info, but ComStat gave me return as stolen.
Who else drives your vehicle?
Nobody but me.
Why would it come back stolen?
I don't know. I haven't stolen the vehicle. I bought it. That's my license. Those are my license.
Yeah.
And that's my license. Those are my tag. I have it's registered.
Did you have any issues with the vehicle? Has anybody else driven it? Any issues with a tow company? Anything like that?
Never had a tow.
I know, but have you had any issues?
No, sir.
None whatsoever.
No, sir.
Well, we'll get this squared away. Unhandcuff him.
Oh, she said negative stolen? My bad. She said negative stolen? I thought she said stolen. Because what it came to me was stolen in a freaking flock. See? I was like a second behind the car when I saw it.
What does it say right now?
Those are stolen vehicle.
Is it updated?
I don't know if it's updated.
I don't know why.
I understand what you're saying.
I don't know why.
And
so the officer didn't know either. And so we're going to try to get to the bottom of it from
all
our end.
all I can do is comply.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I feel bad because 99 times out of 100 the system was right that one time.
I don't understand why it came back as stolen, but
all right, it's all a bit.
yeah, you good to go.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much.
Just fix it. That's all.
I'm not gonna trust this.
Just fix it. It's not about trusting. It's a machine. There is no right or wrong. It looks for a series of numbers.
I was in the corner, right?
Yeah.
And he drove like looking at me. I was like, you looking at me like it's
So
I
all the
checked,
things together made it
Yeah,
look...
I checked
I got you.
and then came back stolen.
Later that day, the math teacher called the sergeant at the police department and had the following conversation with him about what had transpired earlier that day.
What I'm doing right now with Officer Aguilar is we're actually digging into the middle of trying to figure out how this happened and why it happened. Because if, he's holding you at gunpoint over a vehicle that belonged to you, and I got to figure out how did we get to that point?
I was put in a position where if I did anything wrong, I could have been, destroyed. It could have been taken away. I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm just saying these. And then as a result, I ain't put in a position where everybody sees me,
Yep.
locked up as if I had done something wrong.
I have to examine two pieces of this. The first of it is I have to figure out how we got to that to begin with, right?
Okay.
How did we get to where a vehicle that is not stolen is coming back as a stolen vehicle, which causes the officer to respond in a certain way? Did he operate appropriately with that understanding? And I don't know that either.
As you would know if you watched my video out of Lehigh, Colorado, this is far from an isolated incident. This happens all the time, and there are many more examples out there. And what do all of these examples have in common? Innocent people that, as I said, could be your mother, your father, all held at gunpoint by your government, not in response to anything that they did wrong, not in response to any threat being presented at all to police officers, just because it's your government's policy, allegedly, to do this. If the car comes back stolen, then they perform a so-called high-risk or felony stop. But is that constitutional? Is it constitutional for your government to just aim a gun at you because it's their policy, because your vehicle is coming up as stolen on their computer system? No, it's not. As I explained in the Lehigh, Colorado case, the Fourth Amendment, which would govern this, is all about the government, the police acting reasonable. So they can aim a gun at you under certain circumstances. They can shoot you under certain circumstances. But the facts are very important. You always have to look at the facts rather than just policy. Remember, police policy is not law. Many times in civil rights litigation, federal judges will not even allow police policy to be shown to the jury because it's not the law. The judge tells the jury what the law is. The police don't get to make up the law. They get to make their own policy to govern the conduct of their officers, but that doesn't mean that following policy is legal and vice versa. So police departments all over the country, they do have this policy where they are going to perform a high-risk stop or a felony stop on a vehicle that is believed to be stolen. But that would be a mistake in my opinion, because it's going to include many different situations such as this one where it would be unreasonable to point a gun at somebody. So just because we all know that these computer systems make mistakes, we also know that police officers make mistakes. So if they're going to point a gun at somebody, there is going to have to be sufficient knowledge on behalf of the police officer that there's some potential threat there. It just cannot be enough that the car is coming back as stolen. That could be any number of things, such as the police officers know who the individual is that's driving the car or some other occupant in the car, and that person may be dangerous. There would have to be some sort of information that the police officers knew that this individual could be armed or dangerous, or they observed the person doing something that indicated to them that the individual may be dangerous. Or it could be they're looking for a serial killer. I mean, something like that, where there's some sort of reasonable threat in a police officer's mind. So in this case, the police had no information that this guy could be dangerous, that he was some sort of serial killer, or that he could even be armed. As I've explained before, this is really no different than if we as homeowners said, well, now we're going to have a policy of answering our door with a pointed firearm at anyone who rings our doorbell. Would that be reasonable? No. Would it be reasonable if somebody was standing there with a weapon? Yes. If somebody was making threats through the door? Yes. If somebody was pounding on the door in the middle of the night and that scared you? Yes. But if it's just anybody you don't know, they're not doing anything to indicate that they're a threat, then it wouldn't be reasonable to point a firearm. And it's really no different for the police. In this case, there was absolutely no information that this math teacher was dangerous in any way. There was no information that he was armed. All we see is this apparently incompetent officer who I guess he could explain it perhaps if he's sued. But for some reason, he saw this guy driving. Now, we know this guy doesn't look suspicious. We know the car doesn't look suspicious, but something caused him. He doesn't say that the guy was speeding or committing any traffic violations. Something caused him to run the plate. I guess he can explain that. And he ran the plate. And I'm not sure what level of incompetence ensued thereafter, but it appears, according to what they told the media, that their computer system did not malfunction. So that implies that this officer malfunctioned. Maybe he read the wrong number. Maybe he put the wrong number into the system. I don't know. The fact is that the officer screwed up, and this man had done nothing wrong, and he got pulled out of his car. And that was completely unreasonable. In my opinion, that was a Fourth Amendment violation. And apparently this guy has lawyered up and is going to sue. So I hope he does, and I hope he wins, and I hope there's some accountability for this police officer, just like the rest of us in the real world have to face when we screw up. As always, thanks for watching. If you like to go through these sorts of videos and discuss the constitutional law behind it, please subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Remember, freedom is scary. Deal with it. I'll see you next time.